Welcome back to Lead at Every Level, Session 2. This is going to be quite a fast-paced session. Last time, we talked about how values, mission, and vision come together, inspire, and direct toward higher outcomes. Today, we're going to take that to the next level. This is a series for anybody who is already in a leadership role or is aspiring to be in a formal leadership role or is in any role. And that's why we're calling it Lead at Every Level. Last time, we did the first circle. We defined mission, values, and vision, and we looked at how we might apply that to our workplace. Today, we're going to start to build a mission statement, a vision statement, and we're going to learn how to assess that for plausibility. And then we're going to look at how to connect a higher level company mission to our team to help our peers understand how they fit into the big picture. And that's going to be good for us. It helps us understand the big picture, and it also motivates our peers so they really feel their sense of value and why they're here. First, though, let's have a recap. Who can tell me what values describe? Do you remember? What do values say about you? Somebody just come off mute and take a guess.
What's most important to you? What guides your decisions?
Yeah, that's great. Any other thoughts? Thank you.
And Rob, it's like what you believe in, really.
Yeah, exactly. Who am I? Or who are we? Our values should say, this is who we are. No matter what we're going to do it this way because this way reflects who we want to be, our best selves, I think we said. Yeah, great. How about mission? What does a mission describe? Thoughts?
Where we want to head.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you. Anybody else?
Purpose.
Why we're here?
Yeah, and I love that word purpose. Mission is what we do. What are we doing with our values? What is our purpose? And that can be for an individual or it can be for a company. It's important that those things line up. Excellent. And one more, you can guess what this is. What is vision then? This is what we're all heading toward. What does that describe? Any guesses?
What our kind of what the future, our end goal almost.
Yeah, excellent. Other thoughts?
How we get
We
there.
want to grow to?
Yeah, what we want to grow to. Perfect. Yeah, what is our future going to look like and feel like? It should be something tangible, an image that we can put into our minds. So just as a reminder, a mission can be lifelong. It's very long term and can be something that we decide to do for our whole life. A vision will be a destination along that way, something we can look toward and kind of sense to keep us moving forward in our mission. An easy example, although I wasn't an Olympian, would be a mission might be a certain type of athlete that someone wants to be. And a vision might be winning the Olympic Games, imagining what that feels like as you're standing there and getting that medal. That keeps you moving, that keeps you getting up early in the morning, it keeps you pressing forward on the days maybe you'd rather not, but you've got that vision in your head. Strategies are underneath the mission and they're going to change a good bit. I mean, they shouldn't change every week, but we're going to adjust our strategies at least every year, maybe a couple times a year along a mission. And within the next period of months or years, we might have a vision in front of us to keep us moving forward. It's like a big milestone in our mission of life, what it feels like to be on the mountaintop. So yeah, you guys all got it. Excellent. First share of the day. This is what I said my core values were. When I did the exercise of identifying who am I, this is what I found about myself. What I'd love to know is, what did you find about yourself? I have a statement below, and if you don't feel comfortable jumping right into that thought, that's okay. You don't need to. I just love to know what your top 5 values are, unless you do want to take a shot at this statement. I took a shot over on the left for myself. So one of my values is elevation. I'm always wanting to try to find a way in whatever task I'm doing to also elevate the competence and capability of other people around me and their confidence, I should say, the confidence and capability of people around me. I want them to be more capable and feel more confident. So I don't just want us to accomplish something together. I really want to feel like I've built something into somebody. If I remember that and have that up in front of me, there's going to be times when you might inadvertently make someone feel less important than they are or feel less intelligent, but just because you didn't listen to their idea as much as you should have or things like that. But if I have this in front of me and try to remember that I'm not just trying to accomplish something, I'm trying to accomplish something with people and build them up too, then that's going to help me do that less often because I don't want to do that. But we all have moments. That's the point of it, is to keep you on track so that you can be proud of not only what you're doing, but how you're doing it. Anyone want to share your top 5 values? What did you find about yourself? Somebody take a shot. What are your 5?
They are trustworthiness, hopefulness, inclusion, generosity, and adaptability.
That's great. When you went through this, did that help you see anything about yourself and the way that you tend to work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty intentional. I
Mm.
try to be really intentional about these things. On that question you were asking about living the value of, and
Yeah.
so living the value of trustworthiness is like a guardrail for me that helps me stay true to myself, but also make sure I'm living the values.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So you want to make sure that when people are working with you, they trust you so that they'll believe the next thing you're asking them to do, or they'll believe you when you're taking a stance on this, that, and the other. That's great. That's fabulous. Excellent. Anyone else? Thank you so much. Anyone else want to take a shot? Are you ready to move forward? Okay, we got another one. I think it was Tanya, maybe. Come on off mute. Take a shot.
Yeah, so I can't count, so I did 6. So I apologize.
I did 6 too. No problem. I had to decide which 5. So yeah.
Yeah, so mine were creativity, inspiring, common sense, confidence, empowering, and then of course my 6th one was loyalty. So those were the ones I ended up with.
Fabulous. Did they help you see something about why you do the things you do or how
Um,
you work with people?
Actually, when I went through this, I started thinking to myself, I wonder if this is because of how I feel, like some of the things that are
Mm,
going on in within my team, within my career right now. I started thinking maybe
mm,
this is why I chose some of these, because it was more of feelings. and
yeah.
and so when I was going through this, that's what I was wondering, is if I did this a year from now, would I still select these same 5 to
Hmm.
6 ones? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's hard to get out of our feelings, and that's one of the reasons why we do it over several weeks instead of in one day to try to reduce that. But it's worth doing for sure. Doing it again in a few months. I'm just like you. I've done this a lot, and what I found is some of them shift a little bit, but over time I found the same ones are popping up, and I'm feeling more and more confident that this is who I am. But that's great. That's good insight. Next thought. Did anybody take the convergence exercise test and look at how many times does one of your values interact or is similar to one of the things on the HPE values list? Anybody do that? Okay, yeah, we had some do that. I just want to point out that all of those are opportunities to help HPE be better just by being your best self. That's what's exciting about it. There's a question at the bottom here that says, finding this out really helps me see where I'm connected in and makes me feel more bold in my work because I know that when I live this value, which is important to me, I'm actually living the HPE value of whatever that is. And that's very exciting. It really helps your teams, your peers get a real grasp of why they are uniquely special in the HPE picture. Very powerful. If you haven't done that yet, take a shot at it. And I think you're really going to see some neat things about yourself. All right, here's where we're going to go. We're going to go into the steps of building a mission statement. And we're going to go pretty fast through this. You have a handout. It has a space for building a mission statement and a vision statement and checking your plausibility and recasting a mission and vision at your level. So it has all those simple placeholders for those. If you have that handy, you may want to write some things down as we go. Before I jump into it, there's some things to think about on mission. One is that it should fit with your values. If your values say we are this in terms of our character, a really great mission for us is going to be one that lines up with that. If it isn't, if when we're brainstorming ideas of all the things we could do, it's something that just really doesn't line up with who we are, that may be a great mission for somebody, but it may not be the greatest one for us because we may not be able to dig down deep long enough to get that done, because it's not who we are. But if it is, if it lines up, then it's a great mission for us. So that's, you're going to see us kind of test this out as we go. The second thing is, think about the HPE leadership. Imagine them doing this exercise when they developed their own mission statement, thinking about who are we, what's important to us. And that's going to really give you an idea of what kind of power is in that page with the values and the mission, the vision, everything that went into that. The stuff that we're about to go through, that sort of decision process took place. So you're going to get a really good sense that this is a well thought mission that we're on. And the third thing is, think about you. How might you do that for yourself? What would your purpose be in your life? Wherever you are, what are you trying to do that's unique to you? This is a little video of two different types of missions being prepared for. One is in the community, one is at work, but we're both trying to enable capability and confidence. Get on back there and then pull his face. So you kind of see us all planning together what we're going to do. And that's me and my family on the right. We're planning a community self-defense workshop. And our team on the left is planning a training that we're doing. And in both cases, we're working out scenarios on what can we do to help people feel confident when they leave this training. So it looks very different, but if you know what you're looking for, it's the same thing, preparing for a mission. Later on, I'm going to show you what that looked like live. But when you're planning for one, here's some questions you want to start asking yourself. The first one is, what does your company or you do, and why do you do it? That's going to set your mission. What are we about? So here's some things you want to check. What are our core values? That's the first thing. And you kind of know why we said that. We've got to make sure that we are what we say we're going to do. What are our key strengths? What are we really good at? And who are we serving with those strengths? Who are the people we want to serve with what we're good at? And how can we best serve them? There's a lot we could do. What would be the most useful time spent with our resources? Because we can't do everything. Any great leader can do anything, but no leader can do everything. And the same thing is true of any great group or company. We can do a lot, but we can't do everything. All right, so that's the first thing. What are we about? The second thing is, what are some passions behind what we're about? And here are some things you may want to look at when you're doing this. Why was this group or company founded? What was its purpose? What need in the world was it intended to address? What were we wanting to bring into the world by what we did? In other words, what do we get excited about together? Because it needs to be something that's exciting, because it's long term. It's your purpose. If you don't have some excitement about it, then you're not going to be able to put in the power and drive to make things happen. So that's the second thing you may want to think about. What motivates you? Here's an example, and it's a very personal example, but hopefully it'll be useful to you. I said, and you'll see it on my mission statement, my mission, wherever I'm at, is about three things. It's about raising capability, confidence, and character. And in character, I'm always looking to find ways to make everyone feel included and valuable. Now, I look back in my life and I know exactly where that came from. It came from me. When my dad left me when I was 5 years old, he left me and my mom pretty much starving And my mom had to work all the time, day and night. We ended up living in a trailer park where I got beat up day and night while she was off working. And I really didn't believe in myself at all. But one of the greatest leadership principles I've learned in my life is you can aspire to greater things sometimes when someone else sees that in you, even if you didn't see it in yourself. I would not have ever escaped from that place and learned the discipline to work and believe in myself if someone had not taken the time to do that for me. And I can look back on my life and see those people who invested in me and they were willing to take a risk there. So that drives me. And in everything I do, I'm trying to raise confidence and capability to help everyone believe in themselves. And that's why. So it's a mission. I almost can't help it. I have to do it wherever I'm at. You have something like that. Our company has something like that. We have to do this. Whatever we're doing, it has to be this. So that's what we're talking about here. What do we get excited about? All right. Next part. Articulate it. Take a first shot at writing a mission statement. You want to have it be about a sentence long, and you would say something like, my mission is to, or I want to, I seek to. If you want to take a shot and write a draft as we go on your handout, you can do that. It's yours. You can change it. No one will see it. So just kind of write a first draft. That's where we are right now. First take on the mission. What we need to do after that is check it out against some things. The first thing is, does it really resonate? Is it powerful? And something you can do there is kind of look at some action words, action verbs that describe actions, and rewrite your mission statement to put some power words in there. Here's some examples of them. These obviously are not every power word. It's just to give you an example, but look at some of these words like elevate, establish, advance. That one should look familiar. That one is in the HPE mission statement. Organize, produce, promote. You can see how these have power to them. And if you put power to your statement, it's going to be a motivating statement. It's something you'd want to put on a sticky note or a t-shirt. And I'm going to talk about a t-shirt in just a moment. Here's some other things that you might want to think about. Would the average person understand what I've written? If this is a personal mission statement, it doesn't really matter. If you're trying to set a mission for a group, it certainly does, because they're going to need to understand what you're asking them to do. Does it align with our core values? We talked about that. Do we have the strength to really do this mission? And we talked about that a little bit. How about this? Does it reflect a real need in the world? To get a paycheck is not really a mission, is it? To do something that matters, to make some positive difference in the world, that's a mission. So does it do that? Is there an actual need out there that we are serving? An example would be in the HPE mission, we're talking about advancing how people work, unlocking potential. I'd say that's great. I mean, that's a defined need in the world. We're advancing how people work. And you're going to see in a second, I'm going to show it. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but you're going to see that our vision and our values, they align to that mission. So it's really neat to see that. And does it reflect some way we can uniquely meet this need? Are there already 5 billion people meeting this need, or is there something unique about how we're going to do it? If so, then this is going to be a good mission for us to consider. What you do next is write a mission statement down based on your last parameters. We're going to revise it yet again. So we had a draft, and then we looked at a few parameters to think about what would make it better, more punchy, more powerful, making sure it meets a need. And now we have a pretty good one. Let's ask some more questions. One thing, is it broad enough that it gives you some leeway, but it's still targeted? What I mean by that is this: a world peace is certainly a worthy mission, is it not? But it's a little vague. I don't think it's been achieved yet. It's because it's not very targeted. So when targeting, I mean, do you have a who or what in there? That's going to target it a little bit so that it's something tangible that you really can feel like you're making a difference on. It should be something you feel like you can make a dent in, even if it's a small dent. World peace, it would be difficult to make a dent in that as your mission. All right. We talked about it being clear, so you want to check now. We've rephrased it a little bit to make sure it's targeted. Is it still clear? Does it still align to our core values? The reason this keeps coming up is because as we revise things, we just want to make sure we don't revise away from the main thing, who we are. Then here's some other things to think about. Have we made it too long? Is it 5 paragraphs now? It really should fit on a t-shirt. If it can fit on a t-shirt, it's probably not too long because it's easily remembered. If this is your mission, and especially if this is a group mission and you're trying to make it pervasive, you need to be able to repeat it a lot, which means it needs to be easily repeatable and catchy and memorable. There's something called the t-shirt test. Have you made a good mission? Well, what would it look like on a t-shirt? And would someone wear that shirt? That's a good test for your mission statement. All right, we're going to then revise it one more time, and you should have a pretty good mission statement for yourself. Or if you're working with a team, your team could have a good mission statement. Or if you're working with a company, you may have a good mission statement. If you've gone through all those processes with your team at whatever level you're working. Here's some other things you can think about. This is a mission starter kit. It comes from Blue Leads. This is just an addition to the other stages. If you're still a little hazy, you don't feel great about your mission yet, here's some other questions you can ask yourself, and you can write down some thoughts like, what important purpose are we serving in the world? Who are our customers? What are their needs? What are they saying they want from us? Why are we important to them? What sets us apart in this industry? What are 3 to 5 short-term goals we'd want to meet on the way to this mission? More things you can ask yourself if you're really still having a hard time getting your mission down to paper. That is, or those are, I should say, the steps to building a mission statement. And this is a recap. This is what you did. You just thought about who are we and why do we do what we do? We looked at some passion. What do we get excited about? And we articulated that in one sentence. Then we checked it and revised it against some best practices and made it as simple and brief as possible. Let me stop there. Any thoughts about that? Was that interesting? Did you see something new you didn't know? Or can you envision how HPE may have done something like this in its mission statement? Any of the above?
Yeah, it's all of the above, I would say. As far as like, I can definitely envision how HPE did this, and then how other organizations have done this, and then
Mhm.
because I've been with the company a really long time, the many, many, many times that a new organization or a new team goes about. And I think this is a great way of kicking off a new year too, is
Mhm.
to get, I've always enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed all these types of activities though, because I think it brings the whole team together,
Yep.
focused on what's going to happen next. Thanks for the recapping it, and it's a good time going into the second half, getting ready for next year, things like that.
That's great. That's fabulous. When I gave a personal example, did that help anybody kind of grasp what seems to drive you? Because that's going to lead you toward your mission. You can have a mission. And the next thing is, I want to show the mission that we created earlier, how it looks, how it plays out. And I want you to watch these, look at them play out. And the key message I want you to see is there are people who believe the cool stuff I do with my life is outside of work and then I just work. Well, that's sad. It doesn't have to be that way. You can live your vision right here. It just looks different. But I mentioned before, we're doing the exact same thing in both of these outputs. So let me just play them together and see if you can see how confidence and capability would be raising by what we're doing. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the GRS Reminder Task Process video. Meet Claudia and David.
Would you like the part delivered then?
Date and time works for us.
Send follow-up email. It's time for a learning check.
To achieve business outcomes, the why of our project.
We need to see who is doing what and keep in mind we have a deadline.
Major issues should be escalated to our sponsor. It's time for a learning check.
Think about your long-term career based on what you now know about yourself. What kind of work am I likely to be most useful and most successful and enjoy doing?
Lion is a natural leader with strengths such as decisiveness, independency. Beavers are very well organized. Beaver personalities are very creative.
We all need each other.
All of that information and track all of it
in one place.
This is a chance to learn from one another.
It's an everyday challenge that we have here.
I'll tell you a story.
You're absolutely vital in making sure that you put together the team and you help guide that team to success.
All right. Two very different outcomes, but the same mission. Can you see it? Can you see that compilation of training material that my team put together is running to the same mission as what you see me and my wife doing? We're raising capability and confidence.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody can do that. Any role at any level, there is a way to put your own mission into what you're doing. That's really going to be great for you, and it's going to be great for the company too, because that's bringing your best. Somebody asked me, sometimes I'll put together these video montages and things like that. And somebody said, do you do this on the weekends? And I said, yeah, I do. All that stuff I have to do on the weekends and things. And this person said, wow, that really says you're very passionate about it. You're not just doing what's on the clock. And I said, yeah, that's right. I'm not, because I am passionate about it. It is work, but in some ways I don't always think of it as that way. I just want to make it as good as I can, and I want to increase capability through what I'm doing. I'm not really thinking about it if I'm going out on a Saturday afternoon and doing something that's related to something at work, if you follow me, because I want to do it. And that's what you want. All right, let's go into vision. This is what we've all been heading toward. The start is this. You want to build something for yourself, and if you're setting a vision for a group, that will give everyone something to reach for. So you're going to want to build some common ground. You're going to want to animate it. Your mission is very practical. Your vision is going to be very emotional. Try to elevate images in people's minds and capture their emotion and grab them so they want to be on this trip that you're asking them to go on. And it needs to be very genuine. In general, with a vision statement, you're really wanting to risk putting yourself out there a little bit and letting it be very alive. It's much better for it to be passionate and genuine than for it to be so perfected that it's stale, if you follow me. The mission needs to be very perfected. The vision needs to be very passionate. Okay, take a look at how you might build such a statement. First of all, here's some guardrails. Guardrails are things, just like with values, they keep us on the road. If you're driving along the road, you see a rail on the side, that's to keep you from going in the ditches. So when we're building a vision statement, these are just some parameters that we want to think about to make sure that we stay on the road of what it is. One is it should be future oriented. It should be something we are not yet. It can be something we are, but we want to be more of, or it can be something that we are not yet at all, but want to be. Either way, the vision statement needs to be future. It should be a little longer than a mission, not paragraphs, but it should describe a little more of what you're wanting to do because you want to capture emotion. But it still should be pretty concise. It needs to be memorable because you're going to use this to keep people energized on your mission. It needs to be in alignment with your values and your mission now. So you can see how we're building. It's got to stay aligned because otherwise you're not going to want to reach for it if it doesn't say something about who you are and where you're trying to go together. And it needs to be realistic. It should be a stretch, but not ridiculous. You should be able to get to it. And we're going to test that for plausibility later. But before we do, I want you to see this. take a look here, and can you see, like a thumbs up, if you see when you're reading this that in fact our vision and mission and values are aligned pretty well? Can you see that if our mission is to advance the way people work, then moving to as a service, that aligns with that? That certainly is advancing the way people work. And can you see that our values are about working in different ways than maybe a company would have 10 years ago? Are you seeing the connection? Any thoughts there? Let me ask this a different way. Do you see this better than the first time you saw this piece of paper? That this is actually everything about the company in one view? Okay. You want to have a view like that for you too. Who am I? What am I doing? And where am I going? Also, if you are going to be a leader, you want to help your peers at your level grasp where they are in this, because we're talking about a work mission now and a work vision. Where are they? And we're going to talk about that, because the more people can see that, the more excited they're going to be in their work. All right, let me go forward. I just wanted to show that because it really is impressive. I was super impressed the first time I saw this. Pretty sure it came with Antonio around that same time. And it was the first time in my HPE career that I saw it so well articulated all together. And I was very excited. It really felt like we had turned some corner into something really neat together. All right, here's what we're going to do. These are the high-level steps of casting a vision. You want to imagine what could be, find some common purpose in it, write it down, check it out against some best practices, and then test it out to see, is this a reasonable vision? The key is this: if you're going to be an exemplary leader at any level, in any place, then you've got to be able to imagine the future and not stay only stuck in what is now. You've got to be able to step up and look up a little bit and get out of the mud, if you will, of the daily urgencies to see where could we go. The first thing is imagine the possibilities. And the first step on that is look at our past. Where are we coming from? What do we find matters most to us? What are the things that our history shows we want to see get better in the world? What have we invested in this whole time as a company or as a person, if you're looking for your individual vision? Where am I coming from? That's going to shape where you're going to go and where you can go. Where are we coming from? Because you don't just ditch all that. That's all part of who you are. That's what you take forward with you. All right, the next one is look around. Look at the present right now. What's going on inside the company and what's going on outside? What are other companies doing? What are competitors doing? What are customers looking for? This is called expanding your focal vision to ambient vision. You just saw a self-defense seminar. We talk about this there too, in terms of awareness, but very different. What we do is we have everybody stand in a line and look across the room and try to read a word on the wall. Their vision will really focus in on that word. And that's good. And there are times for that. But then we ask, can you see anything else in the room? No, I can only see this word. And then we say, well, relax your vision so the word becomes a little blurry and let yourself see what's beside you. You won't see it in detail, but you'll see images beside you and around you. That's called moving from focal vision to ambient vision. It's very important in terms of safety to be able to see what's going on in an entire room. Very important in terms of vision casting for a person or a company too. What is going on? Let me not get so focused down on what's right in front of my feet that I'm not seeing the bigger picture of things. The way that you can do things like this is ask your customers things. What are some things they say are getting in their way of doing their best today? What are they hoping will be changed about that? What have people around you or other companies started talking about? What have they stopped talking about? Maybe if they are not talking about that anymore, we don't want to be talking about that anymore either, if you follow me. If we're trying to meet a need, then we want to know what's the current need. How do our customers perceive our products? How do they perceive our competition? That sort of thing. Attend to the present. Really take a poll of what's going on around you. And you've heard Antonio and Pradeep and others talk about that, ways that we're doing that. We're doing that as a company. You can do that as well as an individual. The next thing is prospect the future. What do we want to look like in terms of what we just discovered is going on inside and around us? This is where you got to raise your head up a little bit. Every day, all of us are receiving tasks that are urgent, right? Urgent. This has to be done now. This has to be done now. Well, there are times when if you need to be looking for the future, you've got to get your head up out of that and be a little visionary. You've got to separate all that urgent of the day with what's the bigger picture we're heading toward. When you set that and have a vision, that's going to help you. It's going to help you prioritize all the stuff that's coming in right now. At some point, you may start to decide, well, based on where we're going, based on emerging trends in technology and demographics and economics, all the things you can think of in life, we want to make a vision that heads this way. And that means this stuff we're doing right here, we'll stop doing. Or maybe we won't stop doing something, we won't cut it off, but we'll let it slow down and we'll put most of our energy over here because this is where we want to grow toward. That's what visioning will do for you. Now, I know you've heard Antonio and Pradeep talk in terms of those things. There are services we offer that we're moving toward, and there are some services we offer that we know is not the future, but it's part of who we are now, and we're not dropping it, but we are putting a lot of focus in where we're heading. That's why they're doing that. They've got their eyes up and they're looking out toward the future. The next thing is go back to your passion again. What are we passionate about? People aren't going to see possibilities in things they're not passionate about. Every person has concerns, hopes, dreams. Every company has those things. If you're going to really put your time into getting to this vision, you got to figure out what you're passionate about. What's such a burning passion in me that I'm willing to sacrifice to make it happen? That's what we want to do, because we're talking about with a vision getting somewhere that hasn't been achieved yet. That means work to get there. Now, all this right now is just thinking about you yourself. You might be a leader of a team and you're kind of setting up this vision, or you may be setting a personal vision for yourself and you're figuring out, where do my own passions lie and what are some things I want to accomplish? Where did my past fit into this? What's going on around me? This is just you. What we want to do, though, in a company is then create a common vision. So you need to take it past just you to shared vision. Because what's going to happen is if you want your peers to follow this, or if you're an organization, you want teams to follow it, they need to find themselves in it. So you need to find a way to see what they're thinking and feeling. First thing you want to do is listen to people. And you've seen that. You've seen where sometimes we'll go around and we'll sit in with people and get their experiences, listen to what's going on in their worlds so that we can shape the vision in a way that they can find themselves in where we're going. We're going to need everybody to move toward it, so we got to capture their hearts a little bit to move and grow and work with us. So that's what we're doing. We're listening to people. You can do that through surveys. You can do that through sit-ins, coffee talks, all kinds of ways you can do it. But that's part of why leaders are doing those things, because they want to see what's going on, what's the pulse around here. The second thing you'd want to do is then, based on that, try to create a cause out of it. What are our common values? As I've been sitting with others and listening to what their aspirations are, how can I reshape this statement I started with me and make it represent us more? What do we all care about together? The more you can do that, the more you're going to get commitment out of the people you're asking to go with you. And sometimes that means your vision that started off as my vision, it will change a little bit as we make it a we vision. And that's okay, because you're trying to get buy-in to it. And as you know, the more buy-in you get, the more power you're going to get. So we want to find out, what is our cause? And it's not going to be something like make money. It's going to be some way that we make the world a better place. And we're going to need to have that in front of us because of the work and the tests we're going to undergo together to persevere. So that's what you're doing. You're going to try to create a cause from this mission. And the next thing you want to do is think about how we would look forward in times of rapid change. It can be hard to keep moving toward a vision because things are changing all around us. This is where people talk about, where do you want to be in 1, 5 to 10 years? That's what we have to do, is keep your eyes up and keep looking out for the challenges that are coming down the road and the opportunities that are coming down the road, even as we're working the day to day. That's what we're trying to do. Think about how can we look at the big picture. The reason we can do things like in the values, fail fast and it's okay, is because we're thinking long term. Okay, we tripped and fell, but it's okay. We're still heading toward this vision. That's why that value is there. And that's a great value. That's not something that you'd see in a lot of company value statements even 10 years ago, that it's okay to make mistakes as long as we're risking and stepping out and we're trying things on the way to this vision. That keeps us feeling like it's okay in those moments, that we're still heading towards some vision. We're not lost in the fog, I guess I would say. Here's what you're trying to do. If you want to lead others towards somewhere, they're not going to go where they don't want to go, or at least they're not going to go with a lot of passion. So you want to make this attractive to people as much as possible. This doesn't mean you just turn over the reins, of course, and let everybody in a 100-person, 5,000-person, 100,000-person company decide everything about what we're going to do. There's reasons there's different leadership levels because we have different sight. It just means, though, that once you have where you think you're going, you certainly want to include your team in developing it. And then once you have that, you want to do some of the things we talked about to go out and listen and hear how this is probably going to resonate and make some adjustments so that when it comes out across the company, people feel like, wow, you got me with this vision. You get me. This is not just something you want to do. This is something I want to do. And if you can do that, then you're really going to get people to run with you. That's the idea. What you don't want is minimum compliance. If people aren't caught into your vision, it may be grand. In a volunteer organization, let's say, nothing will happen because they don't have to do anything. In a workplace, we do get paid, so you'll get minimum compliance, but it's not a whole lot better. You want the first part. You want people to be excited about coming with you. This is what you don't want. You don't want to be dragging people along the way because you're in a race with other companies and other entities, and you got to have people running together to run the race. Things are too competitive these days. You're not going to get where you want to go unless everyone's bought into your vision. Take the time to set this shared vision. Here's sort of a recap of what we just talked about. Listening to our team members, listening to buyers, involving others in some way about crafting what could be possible. So it's just not something that we're telling you is the vision. You really feel a part of it. And what you're basically doing is weaving your own hopes and dreams with others, as much as possible so that that vision can represent everybody. So you're now on the same page with aligned hopes and dreams. That's the goal. Now, that is a huge challenge the bigger the company is, because the advantage of being a huge company is you have a lot of power and resources, and you've clearly been successful a long time. A challenge is bringing everybody together in one page. Vision and mission and values are 3 tools that companies use to try to do that. Whatever we do, we're going to do it this way by these values. This is the mission we're on. And right now, this is the mountaintop we're heading toward to make the world a better place. Right now, our vision is as a service. That's where we're headed. I think you've seen a good process coming out on how to have everybody feel they're part of that. And it's continuing. And that's why the desire is to get everybody excited about it, not just feel like, well, that's someone else's vision, but I'm not part of it. You want to help people feel included, like they have a piece of it, a voice of it, both in the work and in the outcomes of it. That's the goal. They feel like I'm a part of the work we're doing, and when we get there, I'm going to be part of the rewards. That's your attempt. That is the basics. Here's another leadership book. This is called The Fifth Discipline. The other one I was showing was The Leadership Challenge. I just want to show you that different writings on this are going to say basically the same thing. You can see here that this book, essentially, when it's talking about vision casting, says some things like, if you're going to bring other people along, make sure you're enrolled yourself. You want to show what you're expecting people to do so they see it in you. And once they're bought into you, then they're more likely to be bought into your vision. Then you want to do things like get others involved in shaping what it's going to look like, so it really is a we vision. and have some reasonable idea of the circumstances. That's why you talked to your clients. That's why you talked to the people on the ground. What's going on? Is this possible? Can we do this? It may be a stretch. It may be challenging. And we want it to be that, because what's the point if it isn't? But we want it to be possible. And that's what we're talking about. And then as we go, you want to express your personal support for your peers. If you're an individual contributor with each other in every meeting, I'm on board with this. How can I help you? If you're a manager of a team, express your support as they try and they trip and they stumble and they get back up. It's okay. This vision is challenging, but it's worthy. That's the message you're trying to send. This is why. A shared vision is going to have magnetic power that one person's vision is not going to have. As you know, if you've tried to lead anybody in anything, it's a challenging journey. So it's not quick. There's a lot of milestones along the way, and you're going to have something that you're all looking forward to in order to do that work together. Now, here's the last thing about this is the number one thing that we can do if you and I have decided I want to be a leader, that's formally or informally. The first thing we can do is model what we're asking others to do or what we're hoping others will do. That means show a personal commitment in what we're doing. In other words, if I'm asking someone to do something, I'm going to do it. An example I can give here would be if we decided to go build a building and the first thing we have to do is trench out the ground. As the leader, the best thing I can do is pick up a shovel and get in there and do it with the others. Believe me, when they see you digging with them, they dig faster than if you're back at the tent saying, keep digging. It really means a lot in some way when you're really invested into whatever that is. So take that picture and put it into whatever it is in a workplace. How can I show that I'm with others in this journey? I'm doing it too. And include them in the shape. Where could this go? I'd like to hear your ideas about this. What do you think about where we're heading and how can we make it better? Asking questions like that as you go, including yourself in the risks, and then including those who followed you in the benefits. If you want to be a leader as a model to say, we really are in this together, this is what you can do. Show your commitment, take risks along with your people, and make sure they're getting the benefits. If you're a project leader or something like that, you're going to get a lot of accolades when the project is done. Make sure the people in your project team feel appreciated too. That's what I'm talking about. Or whatever. If you're a team leader, make sure your team feels appreciated when you feel appreciated. All right, now we're going to write this thing out. What we're going to do is stay very short, maybe 2 sentences maximum. And we're going to try to use some resonating words here too, like become, bring, create. These are future-oriented words. Help us kind of give an idea of where we're going. And once you've done that, check it against some things. Is it clear? Is it concise enough? Do we have some time horizon? Vision is time-oriented. We'd like to have some idea of when we're going to get there. Is it future-oriented? Is it relatively stable? It's not going to change like a strategy might once a year or several times a year. It's something that we're shooting for across multiple years. And is it challenging but doable? Do we reasonably have the strength to do it? And, is it a little abstract? We haven't tied ourselves down so much that there's only one way it can happen. And most importantly, probably, is it inspiring? Because you're asking other people to get along with you. Then you'd say, does it represent us and not just me? Is this really something that as many people as possible would be able to say, yeah, I really see myself in that vision? That is the steps of writing a vision process. And I'll tell you this, companies pay millions of dollars to have someone come in and take them through those steps. I don't know if this seems like an obvious set of steps to you, but I can tell you that the vast majority of companies out there do not have values and mission and vision that are aligned, and they pay a lot of money to try to get it. So if you can do that with your teams, if you can do that with yourself, and you see that our company is doing it, it really gives you a lot of boldness in your work, and it's going to give you a lot of power in your career if you can think about how to do this for yourself. Last couple minutes on this. Here's what you're going to do. Once you've done it, you got to test it out. If you're in a strategy, you'd be doing something like a SWOT analysis and things. This is much higher. You haven't started your strategies yet. You're just doing a double check. We got our mission, we got our vision, we're very excited about it. Let's just make sure it's reasonable, that we really can go down this path. The super high level tool you can use is just called obstacles and assets. What do we have to do this mission or this vision with? What are our assets? So you list it down in a column, and then you list what's all against us, and you just get a gauge of it. If you've got one asset and 100 obstacles, this may not be your vision. If they're kind of balanced, then you definitely go for it. If there's some unbalance, if you've got more obstacles than assets, but you really feel like, okay, I think we can invest in a few things and increase these assets and make this happen, you still go for it. That's the idea. How reasonable is this? Are we way out of ourselves, or are we fairly well aligned? Here's a quick example. We as a company, we have assets to do what we said, be a cloud as a service company. Now, we have things we've had to change and grow in and make some adjustments, and we've added and subtracted. But generally, we started from a place that said, yeah, we could go there. It's a plausible vision. If we had said instead, we want to be the #1 car manufacturer in the world, probably that would not be a good idea for us. That's a whole different industry. And just imagine how much we'd have to change to do that. That's all this is doing. It's just making sure that we really could get there. Here's a picture. I don't know if you've seen this movie. I'm dating myself a little bit, but if you haven't, it's worth seeing, or read the book. It's called The Princess Bride. It's got a wonderful moment where you're doing the assets and obstacles vision test. The story is a farm boy has been abducted by a pirate, now presumed dead, and he's returning home to try to marry his true love. Toward the end, they figure out where the princess is. She's held in a castle. She's about to be tricked into marrying an evil prince. And they have all these things that are in front of them. They have walls, they have guards, they have swordsmen. They have all these things that are in the way and they can't get in. Those are their obstacles. So then the main character said, well, what are our assets? And they said, well, we have brains, we have a steel, we have a wheelbarrow, and we have true love, and we have a cloak. And that's what they went in with. It's okay, well, we've got it. We can make a plan. We can get in there. That's just an example of what that can look like. Hopefully that'll motivate you to see the movie. You'll feel so great if you see this movie. It's fabulous. But more importantly, it gives you an example of what I'm talking about when I talk about assets and obstacles. Here's a recap of what we did. We imagined the possibilities. We found a common purpose. We wrote it out in a sentence or two. We checked it out for plausibility and against some best practices in our industry. Just like with mission, here's some other things you can think about if you're still a little bit stuck in creating your personal vision. What am I passionate about? What are my skills that I've built up around talents that I have? Because you know, a talent and a skill are not the same thing. I might be talented, but unless I put time into building skill, someone else who has is going to accomplish more than I am. So have we done that? Do we need to put some more into a certain talent area to make this vision happen? Our company has done that. We've got the talent, we've got the know-how, we're going to reinvest in some of these skill areas to move in that direction. These are some questions you can ask, and there's some others for you. This is just as a takeaway. And the last thought is this. Here's something very powerful you can do and I can do. As far as I know, none of us are sitting on Antonio's staff. But we know the people who are passionate about the vision that they're heading toward. And they've done all this thinking and they've set their vision and they've set and they've aligned it to their values and things like that. Where we are is we have people around us who may have a hard time connecting to that. Like, how does my work fit with that? You and I can help them do that by doing what we call cast a connective vision. And this is the very last thing for today. What you can do is you can take the next level up vision and help your peers see how they fit into this. What you want to do is do it maybe a level at a time. Say there's one level below Antonio's staff. Somebody on that level could say, okay, well, I see the HPE vision is this. Here's our piece of that vision. And that's going to help the team members at that level get it. Oh, I get it. I get what we're doing toward that. And then the next level down, someone on that team may step up and say, okay, well, at that level, this is how that's fitting into the vision. Here's our piece of that. and it cascades down over and over and over. The best thing we can do at our level is kind of look up one level and say, all right, what has, say, S&E said its vision is? Because they've done that work already. What is our piece of the corporate vision? So all we have to do is look at the S&E vision and help our peers and our team know, what are we doing that feeds into that? That's something powerful that you can do. It may seem obvious. I guarantee you have people you're working with every day who aren't sure. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What's my value? If you can do this, it will put spring in their step. Very powerful. It's not a complicated thing to do, but it is massively important. It is as important as any other part of a business plan, helping people see how they fit in the big picture. Essentially, we've covered the basics on mission and vision casting. I really challenge you to do that for yourself. Take the time to write that mission and vision for you, and take the time to think about how that fits in with HPE, because it's going to help you get excited about what you're doing, because you do have an important role to play with the company. And you can do the same things you're doing here with your whole life. You have an important role to play in your neighborhood, in your community. Everywhere you are benefits because you're there. This is just going to help you see that. Here's what I want you to do. I showed you my core values. I showed last time how that fit to my vision. I elevate capability, confidence, and character for excellence. That's what I try to do wherever I'm at. Do I always hit it? No, but I'm always aiming for it. And I'm trying to do that everywhere. In work, that's my peers, my team, my organization, my company, if possible, to the degree that I'm influencing people who are going to places I don't. It allows me to do that. I'm able to pass that on. And you can see that I try to do the same thing outside of work, in my family, with my friends, in my neighborhood. Those things I'm showing are your concentric circles of influence, from closest to further out. That's your mission field. And then the last thing is, I made a vision statement from that where I can, I'm helping people see their greater shared potential and respecting one another and achieving more together. If that's happening because I'm there, then I feel like I'm doing something with my vision. The question is, what is yours? I really would like you to think this through. You got your values. What's your t-shirt statement? And what does a job well done for you look like? If you do X, you're on your vision. That's the takeaway challenge for today. I appreciate you staying. This is an entire semester worth of material in an MBA course in an hour. So it's quite challenging to do, but that's pretty much what you've done. Another way to say this is, who is benefiting because it's you in your spot and not just anybody? In an engineer role, in a project manager role, trainer role. Anybody can do the stuff. What's unique about you doing it? Why is it better for the company, for your peers, that it's Julie or Rob or Raya or Taya? Why is it better? What about your mission and vision is making it better for the people around you that it's you in that spot? All right, we're at the end. I want to thank you so much for being with me. I want to tell you something really neat about this. There are individuals and teams outside of S&E who are asking for this information. So it's quite valuable. And I'm hoping it's been valuable to you, that you start to see, how can you use this? The topics going forward are far more down to earth, like setting up a work breakdown structure and having one-on-ones and things like that. So this is a challenging topic that we talked about, and I appreciate you staying with me. You might write a book about it one day. People get paid a lot of money to write books about what we just went through for free. Here's what we did today. Whatever your influence circles are, if you can get collaboration with your peers, rather than just tell them what they must do, get them to buy in, they're going to go further together. Now, as people leaders, if you're in that spot, or project leaders, of course, we have to manage too. If we have peers and people who just flat aren't doing what they're supposed to do, we have to go into manage mode. But to the degree that we can, we want to stay out into coaching and visionary mode, because that's going to help the runners run. And we need the runners to run to win the race. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you for Rhonda, Lynn, and the Evolve team. I'm excited about the next ones as we go forward. So we'll see you soon in the next learning forum or the next leadership video in this series. Talk to you soon and hope you have a great rest of the day.